Know that your body and your consciousness thanks you for being here, for choosing life. Know that your cells are working for optimum health and balance. Know that I never leave home without my firearm. I got into singing bowls by researching on YouTube. I was really into sound healing and frequencies, and I would use it to calm myself if I had anxiety or if I really wanted great sleep. Soon after doing that a bunch, I came across this guy who does sound bowl meditations, and he goes for hours. He has like all these different sets, and he really had an array of instruments. And so I started to look into what that was called, and that's what they refer to as a sound bath, when you're really like using and pulling from all of these different instruments to create a impactful moment in meditation. It's sort of like puts you in a trance. Once I was able to go through a communal sound bath, I felt the vibrational echo of it all. It was overwhelming in the best way. I was like, wow, I really want to do this with other people. So I more so got into weapons as like an afterthought of getting into self-defense, because those things are just hand in hand. Self-defense came to me as a mindset because I felt so threatened and so vulnerable, and I was in a lot of unsafe scenarios and situations where I felt like I needed to be protected. And so before I became licensed to carry, I would just carry a knife with me everywhere. That evolved to a taser, that evolved to pepper spray, and then eventually I got my firearm, and like in the midst of that, I was doing Muay Thai, I was training, I was doing boxing, but I knew that I didn't feel so confident in those areas, so I was just like, at the very least, I would want to have a weapon on me. Yeah, so this collection all came in a span of 3 years. Really was around the time where that was such a dark time in my life. I felt like Batman. Yeah, I was just kind of devastated by my environment and by certain scenarios that I was put in. And so I just felt like the more the merrier. I wouldn't carry all of these things. In the self-defense world, they call it EDC, which is everyday carry. In that regard, like, never leave home without my firearm. I have key knives, which are these, attached to all of my key rings. This is sort of like an elevated variation of that. It's actually a blade. Discreet. My taser, even though it's not one of those great tasers where you would normally see like a police officer use it and it creates distance, I more so see it as like a last resort. If it's something that I could get to, my thought process goes, if I have enough time to reach for something, would I want to reach for my firearm? Would I want to reach for pepper spray? Would I want to reach for a taser? The taser and the pepper spray are not going to take someone's life. That's the weighted decision when you are carrying a firearm. This is a hook knife. It comes with a sheath. This was the only thing I could grab, or in a situation where I wasn't able to get to something else that I prefer to use. It's a quick. I have a host of knives. These are just 2 of them to compare. This is sort of like something fancy, very aesthetically pleasing, sharp. It's small, can fit in a pocket, and it has a clip. Discreetly have it here. Now, obviously, I don't have anything that would cover it, but if I did, you wouldn't be able to tell. These here are called Kubatons, and I like to have different variations. As you can see, one is pointed and one sort of has a softer round, but you use it in tandem with hand-to-hand combat. So my first mandala was in high school. It's actually for a high school project. We were studying Islam, and our next phase in the course was studying Buddhism. Through Islam, we were learning about Arabic patterns, and that really just caught my eye. It was like so soothing to learn about the architecture and study the religion through that lens of appreciation. But once we got to Buddhism, and I learned that monks make mandalas as this spiritual practice and spiritual devotion, and through this this resonance of impermanence, of just like letting things go, using sand, knowing that it's not bound. It's of the earth, but it's not bound to the earth. Whatever you make with sand is subject to the wind. It's subject to somebody stumbling into the art and it turning into something else. That just really captivated me. And from then, we had to create a mandala for a school project. And at the end of the project, our teacher didn't tell us, but at the end of the project, we had to like blow it all away. So we spent hours and hours and hours making this mandala with sand. And then at the end, it was just time to let it go. And from then, I was just like, that is the art form that I resonate with most. Before I even got into graffiti or graphic design or any of that, it just the idea of giving something and not being attached to it really was like, it was soul provoking. I couldn't even tell you like what day or why or how. It just was like, go into the store and like find sand. and then I found it. I bought 20 bags. Like everybody's looking at me like, what are you making? Like, what are you doing? I tell you, I want to say back during 2020, like during the pandemic, I remember I was just busting them out. Everywhere I went, I had a bag of sand with me. Right now, I'm just thanking the space. I'm just closing out this ceremony and sharing a mental moment and a spiritual moment with this land and all the people that have graced this land, the people in this neighborhood, people that came before us who had something to do with this land being here, the people that will come, and all the spirits that may be in transit of this space. I just ask that this space remain wholesome and honorable and a safe space. And that anyone that passes this feel peace, feel the intention that's put into this space and this art piece. And yeah, a big sense of gratitude, big sense of surrender as I leave this piece. Honor time that I shared with the space. I say ashe. Until next time.